This is a special edition of Things I Want to Know, Voices, brought to you by FMS Studios. In 1962, the Joint Chiefs of Staff put pen to paper and plotted slaughter. Not Castro's, not Khrushchev's, but America's own. Terror staged on American soil, pinned on Cuba, sold as righteous causes for war. Cold ink, cold blood. Operation Northwoods. The Bay of Pigs lay in ashes. A CIA-backed brigade of Cuban exiles hurled themselves into Cuba's beaches under American direction, hoping to topple Castro. Instead, Castro's fighters crushed them in days. Kennedy's gamble collapsed in saltwater and defeat, leaving the president and the war hawks at the Pentagon reeling with humiliation, their pride shattered on the world stage. Cuba was a red dagger 90 miles from Florida, a Soviet outpost staring back at the United States. In the Cold War's deadliest chess game, the island looked like checkmate waiting to happen. Castro knew he lived in Washington's crosshairs. He had survived the Bay of Pigs and braced for more. He tightened his grip on power, expecting assassins, invasions, and sabotage. To the generals, only one answer remained: invasion, steel, and fire. But the public wasn't ready to bleed for it, and the fury would have to be forged, manufactured in smoke and spectacle until the nation howled for war. Operation Northwoods spelled it out. Conceived in shadow, stamped top secret, it carried itself up the chain. The proposals were surgical and savage. Blow up a U.S. ship at Guantánamo and blame Cuba. Stage hijackings. Swap a chartered airliner for a drone and script its own shoot-down. Ignite a communist Cuban terror campaign in Miami and other cities, exploding plastic bombs, staged arrests, and even sinking a boatload of Cuban refugees. Real or simulated. Orchestrate chaos so loud that the country would beg for Castro's head. No rants, no whispers, just typewritten lines, clinical orders for bloodshed, ink without conscience. But behind those lines lived faces. A sailor ordered to patrol Guantanamo, unaware his ship might be bait. A pilot hugging his children at the gate, never knowing his profession had been penciled into a death script. Families in Miami, nameless to the generals, reduced to pieces in staged performances. Each line pointed like a bayonet at ordinary lives, ready to pierce if the scheme advanced. The Joint Chiefs all approved of the package. Chairman Lyman Lemnitzer signed the transmittal. This wasn't a rogue memo. It came from the top. The plan climbed upwards to Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara, and within days, at a March 16 meeting, Kennedy made clear he would not authorize the U.S. military force or manufactured pretexts for Cuba. He was 44, the world was on fire, and his own generals placed a torch in his hands. His brother Robert could counsel, but the burden was his. He sat the paper down. The room held its breath. A thought hammered through him now. How could his own chiefs dream this? Men sworn to defend the Republic, now processing lies and sabotage, sacrificing of innocence. Rage pressed against restraint. He paced the carpet, jaw tight, the weight of history coiled in his chest. The air felt heavy, portraits on the wall staring like silent jurors. And finally he stopped. The generals waited, their cold eyes fixed on the president. Kennedy's answer? No. Sharp. Absolute. That refusal buried Northwoods. And Kennedy did not renew Lemnitzer's term as chairman. The plan never left the desk, but its ghost prowled the vaults, waiting for the lock to break. In 1997, the Assassination Records Review Board released the files. In 2001, the National Security Archive posted them for public access. The rumors calcified into stone undeniable in the light. It was not Havana, not Moscow, but Washington, our own Joint Chiefs of Staff, who were sworn defenders of the nation, signing off on staging carnage at home. For veterans who had once saluted those generals, this revelation landed like shrapnel. Men who had bled in Korea, who had braced for nuclear winter, now stared at signatures authorizing betrayal. Their loyalty shattered under commanders willing to trade American lives for fire on the political altar. False flags are not fiction. They nearly became fact. If Kennedy had nodded, America might have burned her own under a lie. Cuba would have burned under invasion, and the world would have been pulled even further to the brink of thermonuclear war. Because NATO and the Soviet Union seemed locked on a collision course. It would have meant panic ripping through the streets, headlines screaming of Cuban treachery, families rushing to stock cellars, politicians demanding vengeance. A chorus for war so loud even a president wouldn't be able to silence it. Within days, a nation could have been locked on a path toward Havana, voices baying for Castro's blood. It wouldn't have been abstract. It would have been lived, in funerals, on television and newspapers demanding retaliation, in the swelling anger of a population convinced it had been struck. The road of a country demanding fire would have drowned every voice of caution. In October of 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis, an event that proved just how far the public would take the panic. Even then, shelves were stripped bare, cans and bread vanished under the stampede of fear. Families dug shelters, newspapers screamed of nuclear fire. That frenzy was real, undeniable, and if Northwoods had gone forward, the hysteria would have matched it. But it would have been faster, bloodier, and squarely aimed at Cuba. But because Kennedy blocked it, and he drew the line, he had to carry the cost. The clash in that room was thunder, but his final word cut through like steel, ending the plan cold, leaving the air heavy with the war it might have unleashed. The future would hold a folded flag and a child clutching a mother's dress, and men sent to proxy wars, only to fight with nothing to show. Those belonged to the era. Northwoods threatened to add false martyrs to that role of sacrifice. Grief manufactured to drive a nation toward war. Fortunately, the coffin for Northwoods was never filled, but the plan lies entombed in the archive, still whispering how close the Republic came to eating itself alive. A reminder, carved in ink, that democracies can flirt with their own destruction and that vigilance is the only guard against betrayal within. Thank you for listening. If you liked this episode, leave a comment about how my voice carried like thunder. If you hated it, leave a comment anyway. I'll frame it on the wall with the others. Either way, I win. You know. So, you can also email me at paulg@paulgnewton.com. Bye.